In her new memoir, The Woman in Me, Britney Spears is taking back control of her voice and opening up about her meetings with celebrities over the years. The much-awaited book, which debuted on bookstores on Tuesday, details Britney Spears' meteoric rise from child star to #1 pop icon, including her highs and lows, a 13-year court-ordered conservatorship that ended in November 2021, and music videos, award shows, and smash albums. Spears also reflects on her interactions throughout the years with mentors and peers. However, she is prepared to reclaim the story. In the interview, she stated, "It's finally time for me to speak up and raise my voice, and my fans deserve to hear it straight from me. I will take responsibility for my past, present, and future, no more lies or conspiracies." What Spears writes about the celebrities she names in The Woman in Me is broken down below by People. The Mouseketeer Spears began her career in show business when she joined the Mickey Mouse Club at the age of 11. The star remembers the moment with nostalgia. "It was incredibly enjoyable, especially for a youngster like me. It was truly a child's dream. However, we would practice choreography 30 times a day in an effort to perfect every step, which made it incredibly difficult labor," the author adds. Additionally, Spears discloses that her on-set romance with Timberlake, her future boyfriend, started there. She remembers in the book, "Once, at a sleepover, we played Truth or Dare, and someone dared Justin to kiss me. A Janet Jackson song was playing in the background as he leaned in and kissed me." Martin Max. At the age of 15, Spears secured a recording contract with Jive Records, and she started collaborating with music producer and prolific songwriter Max Martin. "A waiter approached us as we were sitting down and asked, 'How may I assist you?' The entire table caught fire as a result of a candle that somehow overturned," Spears says. "Max and I exchanged horrified glances. 'You think we should leave now?' he asked. He was enchanted. And we got to work together right away. To begin work on the tracks that would be included on her critically acclaimed 1999 first album, Baby One More Time, Spears headed to Martin's home country of Sweden. About working with Martin, Spears adds, "Max listened to me. When I said I wanted more R&B in my voice, he knew what I meant and he made it happen." Cole, Paula. "When I first heard her voice, I thought she looked completely different than she actually did," says Spears. Putting her angelic face to her super dirty words on Feel in Love, her tiny body with the strength of her voice on I Don't Want to Wait, I realized how powerful it can be when women defy expectations." Timberlake Justin. In 1999, at the ages of 17 and 18, Spears and Timberlake formally started dating after first connecting on the Mickey Mouse Club. Spears says of their early romance, "Pretty soon I realized that I was head over heels in love with him, so in love with him it was pathetic. We were like magnets." Timberlake allegedly cheated on Spears during their relationship. Spears discloses that during their relationship, she fell pregnant with the NSYNC singer's child and had a medical abortion because he insisted on it. "It was unexpected, but it wasn't tragic in my opinion. I cherished Justin dearly. I've always thought that one day we'll have a family." Regarding the pregnancy, Spears states in the book, "This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated. But Justin's happiness about the pregnancy was undeniable. He claimed that we were far too young and not ready to become parents. Had it been solely up to me, I never would have taken that action." Despite this, Justin was adamant that he didn't want to have children. "I was distraught when he broke up with me. I was so devastated for months that I could hardly speak," the author writes. "Whenever anyone asked me about him, all I could do was cry." NSYNC *. Spears ascended the charts with Timberlake and his group NSYNC, as well as the Backstreet Boys, in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Back then, his band NSYNC was referred to as So Pimp. Spears writes, "They were Timberlake's boy band, they were white boys, but they loved hip-hop. That, in my opinion, set them apart from the Backstreet Boys, who appeared to deliberately present themselves as a white group. NSYNC socialized with musicians of color. I used to think they were trying too hard to fit in. One day Jay and I were in New York, going to parts of town I'd never been before, she relates. A man wearing an enormous, ostentatious medallion was approaching us. Two enormous security guards were on either side of him. Jay exclaimed, "Oh yeah, FO shiz, FO shiz." Genuine, with much excitement. "Hey, what's up, buddy?" "Madam." Following the success of her single Baby One More Time, Spears made friends with fellow pop stars as well as the Queen of Pop. Spears recalls, "I started running into Madonna all over the world. We'd greet each other as friends." Madonna even took Spears under her wing as a mentor after she and Timberlake broke up in 2002, paying her a visit at her New York City home. Additionally, Spears claims that the vocalist of Ray of Light did have a good effect on me. "She told me I should be sure to take time out for my soul, and I tried to do that," she writes. "She was an example of the kind of strength I needed to see." In the industry, there were numerous ways for a woman to succeed. One might establish a reputation as a diva, exhibit professionalism, or simply be kind. I always made a consistent effort to satisfy everyone. At the 2003 MTV VMAs, the pop divas famously took the stage and locked lips. Spears describes the famous performance as an air kiss that we did every time we practiced it. "I was sitting on the side of the stage about 2 minutes before the performance, reflecting on my best performance to date, the VMAs, in which I had taken off my suit to unveil a glittery outfit. I said to myself, I hope to have another moment like that this year. Should I just go for it with the kiss?" That kiss was talked about a lot. The two then worked together on Spears' 2003 hit song Me Against the Music, which she remembers as a pop stardom master class. Carey Mariah. At an awards show, Spears knocked on Mariah Carey's dressing room door in an attempt to grab a picture with the We Belong Together singer before becoming famous. When she opened it, the most exquisite, unearthly light spilled out. "Do you realize that we now all have ring lights?" Well, the only one who knew about ring lights more than 20 years ago was Mariah Carey. I can't just utter her first name either. She will always be Mariah Carey to me, Spears says. Carey continued by teaching Spears how to identify her angles. When Steven Tyler Spears performed with Aerosmith and NSYNC at the 2001 Super Bowl, she got to meet one of her rock idols. "I was brought to Steven Tyler's trailer to meet him right before the show, and his energy was incredible. He was such an idol to me," she writes in her book. In 2001, Michael Jackson Spears performed live alongside another legendary musician. "I performed a duet of The Way You Make Me Feel with Michael Jackson to celebrate the 30th anniversary of his solo career," she says. "I prowled around that stage in my heels. The crowd lost control. There was a moment when we thought the 20,000 people in the crowd were singing together with us." Taryn Manning and Zoe Saldana. "I believe I began method acting, but I was unable to transcend my role. I transformed into this other person. Method acting is practiced by few, but most practitioners are conscious of it. However, I never experienced any kind of disconnection," Spears says. "I eventually started talking differently, walking differently, and carrying myself differently. During the months I spent filming Crossroads, I was someone else. The females I worked on that movie with probably still think she's a touch weird. They were correct if that was how they felt." Valentina Versace. Following her acrimonious breakup with Timberlake, Spears traveled to Italy to stay with fashion designer Donatella Versace. For Spears, the work vacation ultimately became an escape. "I was supposed to sing, but I really didn't feel like it, so after I did a little bit of posing, Donatella said we could take it easy," Spears recalls. Donatella's extravagant parties are well known, and this one was no exception. Lenny Kravitz was there, among other wonderful people, as I recall. Winfrey, Oprah. After the split between Timberlake and Spears, the public developed a fascination with Spears' virginity. "I'd appreciated it when Oprah told me on her show that my sexuality was no one else's business, and that when it came to virginity, you don't need a world announcement if you change your mind. Regarding the talk show host, Spears writes. Colin Alberg. It was a 2-week brawl, according to Spears in the book. There's only one word for it, brawl. We were all over each other, fighting so hard it felt like a street fight. In the book, she recalls the moment he took her as his date to the January 2003 premiere of The Recruit and says they started dating after she showed up on the set of his action movie SWAT. Portman, Natalie. Spears says, I tried to be social, as she tries to move on after the separation with Timberlake. I'd known Natalie Portman since we were young kids on the New York theater scene, and we'd even thrown a party on New Year's Eve together. Christina Aragonese. Spears feels that she wasn't as scrutinized as her peers, such as Timberlake and Christina Aguilera, in the early 2000s. Spears claims that when others spoke for her, it harmed her. It hurt to hear individuals I had been so close to talk negatively about me in the media. It felt like they were just adding salt to the wound, even if they weren't intending to be nasty, the author adds. Why was it so easy for everyone to forget that I was a human being, vulnerable enough that these headlines could leave a bruise? Churn. When Spears was younger, she shared a house with other members of the music industry's elite. Williams, Robin. The toxic singer who was living in Cher's former building met an A-lister. One of the only times I did, a man behind me on the elevator said something that made me laugh. I turned around and it was Robin Williams, she relates. Sawyer, Diane. Diane Sawyer interviewed Spears following her breakup with Timberlake, and her incessant questions caused the pop singer to cry. Throughout the sit-down, Spears repeatedly said she was embarrassed, and Sawyer chastised her for having upset a lot of mothers in this country by abandoning her good girl persona through skimpily attired magazine covers. Sawyer proclaimed Spears' abs to be the most valuable square inch of real estate in the entertainment universe as she opened the special. Spears writes of the intense interview, I felt like I had been exploited, set up in front of the whole world. It was an internal breaking point for me, a switch had been flipped, that interview. Something eerie moved across my body. I sensed my transformation into a bad person, almost like a werewolf. Federline Kevin. Writing of their early relationship, I held on to him like there was no tomorrow, is what she says. I thought Kevin would give me the stability I was craving, and the freedom, too. After getting married in 2004, the couple welcomed Sean Preston and Jaden James into their lives in 2005 and 2006, respectively. Spears claims Federline was impacted by his celebrity. He once told me he had been at a party when he returned home late. He exclaimed, Justin Timberlake was there. And Lindsay Lohan was. Spears describes Federline's transformation. Kevin was simply fascinated by the power and the glory. I've witnessed the devastation of people by fame and wealth countless times throughout my life, and I witnessed it happen to Kevin slowly.